You are Locked On Nuggets POSTCAST, powered by Mile High Sports, part of Locked On Sports Denver on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome on in to your Locked On Nuggets postcast. Hope everybody is doing well out there on this Friday night as the Denver Nuggets bounce back in a big way against the Detroit Pistons, winning tonight 134-119, your final score. I am your host, Aniello Piro. You guys can follow me on social media at Media by AP. Do me a favor if you're watching live on YouTube. Appreciate y'all as always. Hit that like button, smash that subscribe button as well. That way you guys never ever miss an episode of your Locked On Nuggets postcast. But folks, that is how you bounce back. And that's how you show that you're not going to just roll over and be soft and respond in a good way. And Denver with the win tonight now improves, it's hard to believe, to 11-1 on the second night of a back-to-back of the season, which is, like I said, just hard to believe. The back-to-back, the second night in particular is the hardest schedule, the hardest scheduling thing that you have to face, throughout the course of an NBA season. And Denver has handled that in stride. I would love to see. I don't know what their record is in the first night of a back-to-back. I don't think it's that good. Last night obviously was not great for the fellas. And, they bounced back in a big way here tonight, 134-119. So you absolutely love to see it. A lot to get into tonight. But before we do that, tonight's episode of your Locked On Nuggets postcast is brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. Right now, new FanDuel customers can get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. More from our friends over at FanDuel in just a little bit, but a scrappy game, a chippy game throughout the course of the evening here. You saw Russell Westbrook getting into it there at one point. A lot of physicality tonight from the Detroit Pistons, which I'm personally all here for. I grew up, watching early 2000s, mid-2000s basketball. Obviously, I wasn't around in the 90s, but I've watched the tape. I've seen the 80s, talking about Detroit, Bill Laimbeer and company with the Bad Boy Pistons. I mean, it's just not that type of league anymore. But I did enjoy the physicality across the board tonight. It's just, I don't know. I think basketball is better when you're allowed to play, some tough defense and, a little hand check in here, a little shove in there. I like the physicality personally. And Detroit certainly brought that tonight, but it was not enough as the Denver Nuggets were able to run away with this one in the second half. They got out to a tremendous start, outscoring Detroit in the first quarter, 39-31. Then Detroit punched back as you expect them to, considering they're on an 8-game win streak heading into this matchup here tonight with a normal with a day of rest in between their previous game. They outscored Denver 32-29 there in the second quarter, and then Denver just keeps their foot on the gas and really created the separation necessary to get this win in the third quarter, as Denver was actually outscored in the fourth 32-27. But when you outscore your opponent 39-24 in the third, and a pretty tight and closely contested game at half, typically that is a recipe for success, and that is exactly what you saw here tonight from the Denver Nuggets. So love to see that. Taking a look at some of the numbers. Look, man, Michael Porter Jr. did his thing tonight. I was harsh on MPJ last night. I was talking about how he needs to be better. If Denver wants to be a legitimate, not just a competitive team in the Western Conference, but a championship contending team in the Western Conference, a lot of that is going to fall on Michael Porter Jr. Look, Jamal Murray has done his part early in the season. It was rough for Jamal, very, very rough. But since the calendar has flipped to 2025, he has been on the money as Jamal Murray, and you're kind of waiting for Michael Porter Jr. to get back to that pre-All-Star break version of himself, like we saw against New Orleans and a couple of other games leading up to that All-Star break. Denver opted to keep him at the trade deadline. Maybe they didn't like the packages out there. Maybe they just wanted to give him a chance in this core, a chance to run it back. And tonight, Nuggets Nation and the coaching staff and Michael Porter Jr. himself rewarded and validated 38 minutes tonight for MPJ, a team high 38, that is. He finishes tonight with, not 38, that'd be nice, 28 points, but he was a team high plus 35 in the box plus minus here tonight. High volume of shots, 10 of 15 from the field, so efficient there, and 6 of 7 from 3, which is what you need from a guy like Michael Porter Jr. Spitting distance in a triple-double, or a double-double, excuse me. Jokic had a triple-double, his 28th of the season. We'll get to that in a moment. But 9 rebounds tonight for Michael Porter Jr., added an assist as well, and just a tremendous bounce-back performance tonight from Mr. Porter Jr. So you absolutely love to see that. And you know, if you're a regular listener to the show, you've heard me say this before, or if you're just a Nugget fan, you probably picked up on this. He is a streaky player, is Michael Porter Jr. He's hot or he's cold. There's really no middle ground with him. And when he's cold, it's bad. You know, we've seen that since coming back from the All-Star break, with the exception of tonight's game. But when he is on and he's feeling himself and he's knocking down shots and he's seeing that ball go through the hoop, I mean, that confidence just continues to build and build and build and build and build. And that is only going to mean good things for Denver if he can go ahead and string together a few of these games. And, you know, we'll talk about this at the end of the show. Let's see what the fellas got on Sunday now, right? Off tomorrow, but then they got Sunday's matchup against the reigning defending NBA champion Boston Celtics, which is going to be interesting. I'm very, very, very curious to see how Denver responds in this matchup against Boston this weekend. But tonight, it's that 134-119 victory over the Detroit Pistons. Detroit now at 33-27 on the year, only 16-14 at home, but Denver improves to 39-21 on the season, 19-12 away from Ball Arena. So tip of the cap to Michael Porter Jr. Had to start there. A tremendous bounce back performance for him. And Jamal Murray did his thing tonight too, man. A team leading 31 points for Mr. Murray, 10 of 22 from the field, 5 of 9 from 3, 6 of 7 from the charity stripe, added 4 assists, grabbed 3 rebounds, had a couple of steals, a block. I mean, just a really nice, complete game tonight from Jamal Murray. So you absolutely love to see that for sure. So, you know, you want to see that continue to, you know, be the trend here with this Denver Nuggets team. And I see Michael Malone here on my TV. He's at the podium right now. I'm sure he's got to be, you know, very happy with how his team played tonight and the overall effort. And really, that was the biggest thing for me, is you saw Denver in this game tonight come out with energy, come out with focus, come out with desire. You didn't see that last night against Milwaukee. You know, a little sloppy to start the game. Never really got going, missing some bunnies, missing three-point shots. What'd they shoot? 29%, I want to say, last night from three-point land, off the top of my head. And so I loved the response tonight from Denver, which, as I mentioned, is something that they've been able to do all season long on the second night of a back-to-back. Only one game they have lost have the Denver Nuggets on the second night of a back-to-back here tonight, or this season, rather. And they keep their winning ways going in that scenario with that 134-119 dub over the Detroit Pistons. So love to see it. As I mentioned, Jamal Murray, great game with the 31 points. MPJ, great bounce back with 28 points. But the big fella, Nikola Jokic, with another triple-double, his 28th triple-double of the season. 23 points, 17 rebounds, 15 assists. I mean, this guy almost had 20s across the board. Look, and all due respect to SGA, all due respect, and I'm not trying to make this an MVP conversation show. He's the best player in the league, man. It's not even close. And let me pull this up. I saw this tonight on Twitter. My guy Adam Mares used to host the Locked On Nuggets podcast. Obviously does great work over there with DNVR. He says on Twitter, follow him at Adam_Mares. This is Jokic's 14th game with at least 15 points, 15 assists, and 15 rebounds. He trails only Oscar Robertson, who had 15 such games. So Jokic, 15 game away from tying Oscar Robertson. And Oscar hasn't played basketball at the professional level in a long time. That's a long-standing milestone that Nikola Jokic is almost guaranteed to pass at some point in his career. I mean, he is just an absolute marvel. He's so fun to watch. And tonight, you know, you saw him get out there aggressive, trying to score the basketball. I mean, the one knock that you have on Nikola tonight is he was 0 for 3 from three-point land, but that's okay because he's been shooting the three ball pretty well this year. And when he's got 23, 17, and 15, and you've got, most importantly, Michael Porter Jr. going 6 of 7 from 3, Jamal Murray going 5 of 9 from 3, Christian Brown going 2 of 3 from 3, and how about Zeke Naji tonight? In the starting lineup, in replacement of Aaron Gordon, who was out with an injury, 2 for 2 from 3. Jokic didn't have to shoot the three ball at a high level tonight, folks, because his teammates got his back. So, love to see it. Just a good game across the board, and I'm about to do a FanDuel read in here in just a moment. I made No, Daniel, Matt Moore is not a fraud. Matt Moore is my guy. All respect to Matt Moore. I don't know what makes you think that, but Matt Moore is arguably one of the smartest basketball minds that I've been around. Love Matt Moore. He's taught me a lot. Just a great guy overall to interact with. So shout out to Matt Moore, Hardwood Paroxysm. Love the guy. Does great work with obviously Locked On and his Substack and everything else that he's got going on. Make sure to check him out at Hardwood Paroxysm. But he's my guy. And Matt Moore loves to play. Like, he's really good at playing the contrarian role. he is. And that's where it's like, even sometimes I disagree with him. I'm like, but he makes good points. So, no, shout out to Matt Moore, man. One of the good guys here at Nuggets Media for sure. And it's a 134-119 victory tonight for Denver. So not a lot to complain about here tonight. Everybody played. Everybody that was available played, including Dario Saric, who had 4 minutes of run. Hunter Tyson, 4 minutes of run. Spencer Jones, 4 minutes of run. So you'll love to see that for sure. But all right, let me hit my first break, guys. When we come back, we'll continue along with the conversation. Let's dive into the 3-point shooting tonight for Denver and how effective they were from beyond the arc, as that ultimately, I think, helped provide some separation for them in this matchup against the Detroit Pistons. So we'll hit a quick break. We'll come back and do just that. As always, I'm the host of the show. You, the listeners, the subscribers, are the ones that help me drive the conversation. So if you've got any thoughts, opinions, questions, whatever it might be, go ahead and drop those in the comment section, and we'll go back and forth here on tonight's Locked On Nuggets postcast. Back in just a moment, folks. All right, you guys, real quick, let me tell you about our friends over at FanDuel. When the game tips off, the NBA action is just getting started, and there's no better place to get in on than with FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. With FanDuel, you can place live bets throughout the game, so even if you miss the opening tip-off or want to bet on a fourth-quarter comeback, not the case tonight, you can stay in the action. And if you're looking for a bigger payout, you could even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay. I love using FanDuel's live betting feature because it keeps every moment of the game exciting. Whether I'm backing my team for a late game rally or picking a player to hit a clutch three, I never feel like I missed my chance. Plus, the app is easy to use, and when you win, you get paid instantly. Right now, new FanDuel customers can get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. That's FanDuel.com for your shot at $150 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Make sure to check out our friends over at FanDuel and let them know that Locked On Nuggets sent you. All right, welcome on back into your Locked On Nuggets postcast. I am your host, Aniello Piro. Hope everybody is doing well out there on this final day of February. Hard to believe, but the calendar flips to March tomorrow, folks. And Denver and Boston on Sunday will be a March basketball game, which means the playoffs are rapidly approaching, which is going to be interesting to see how Denver can finish off the rest of this regular season, considering the level and the quality of opponents that they're going to have to face here down the stretch. And real quick on tonight's game from a betting perspective, after I did that FanDuel read, can someone explain to me why Denver was a dog? I can't rationalize that. Like, in what? I mean, maybe the second under back-to-back and the fact that Detroit was on an 8-game win streak, but win streak aside, back-to-back aside, Denver is the better team straight up. And I thought maybe there was an injury I didn't know about. Obviously, Aaron Gordon was out tonight, but Denver's done a good job without Aaron Gordon in the lineup throughout the course of the season. But I remember like doing the show last night, and I was kind of like trying to guess what the line would be. I thought it would be like Denver -4, -5. It was Denver +1. You got plus money on the money line tonight, folks. Plus money. I hammered that thing. I'm not even afraid to say it. I mean, like I was a little nervous because like it looked too good to be true. And it's funny, right? Like in sports betting, there's no such thing as a win, right? You either lost or you didn't bet enough. And like that's where I'm kind of licking my chops here tonight. Like I should have bet more, right? But bet responsibly. But at the end of the day, like I just saw that line and I was just dumbfounded. Like Denver is an underdog. I get they're on the road. I get it's Detroit who's been playing well, but you got the best player in the world out here, man. After a bad loss against the Milwaukee Bucks, come on, man. If you've paid attention to Denver tonight, or if you paid attention to Denver throughout the season, look, I'm not trying to say it was a guarantee. There's no such thing as guarantees or locks in betting, but you had to feel pretty good about Denver's chances to get the win. And at plus money, come on, you got to take that. You got to take a shot on that. Pizza money, whatever it might be. So congratulations to anybody that bet the Nuggets tonight like myself. That was pretty sweat-free for the most part, especially once we got to that third quarter. But bringing it back Real quick here to the three-point shooting. I mean, Denver shot the lights out tonight across the board, not just from three, 56% from the field. They were 47 for 84 and almost 56% as well from three-point land, 17 for 31. That's good for 54.8% from three-point land here tonight for the Denver Nuggets. And, the inverse of that is Detroit did not have the best shooting night. They actually got better late in the fourth quarter with a couple garbage time threes, but they shot 45% from the field, 45 for 99, and then 12 of 37 from three. But they were floating closer to 28, 29% there for a majority of the game, 12 of 37 from three-point land. And really, Denver did a great job of just bringing that, intensity on defense. Nobody for Detroit tonight put up 20-plus points. I mean, the leading scorer tonight for the Pistons was Arthur Thompson, who had 13. Or excuse me, no, it was old pal Malik Beasley. My bad. He had 16 points off of the bench tonight. Nice to see Malik finding a home here in Detroit. 26 minutes played tonight for Malik. He had 4 3-point shots as well. He was having a good time out there. All love for Malik Beasley, the former Denver Nugget draft selection from a few years back there. Same draft class as Jamal Murray. So he was the leading scorer off the bench tonight for Detroit. But they had Cade Cunningham in prison tonight, man. 11 points for Cade, minus 120. Or not minus 120, I'm thinking the betting. Minus 20 in the box plus minus. 3 of 12 from the field, 0 of 2 from 3, 5 assists, 3 rebounds. I mean, they put the clamps on Cade Cunningham tonight. I mean, really all the starters tonight. Tobias Harris had a dozen. Tim Hardaway Jr. had 10. Jalen Duren had 8. Simone Fontecchio with 12 points off of the bench as well. But I mean, really just a good job from Denver, despite Detroit scoring 119 points. I mean, this game was over in the early portion of the fourth quarter. They did a really good job defensively tonight of just upping the ante and kind of, just locking up this Detroit Pistons teams. And this was also a little bit of a natural letdown spot, I would say, for Detroit. I mean, let's take a look here. I mean, like leading up to this game, they're on that 8-game win streak. They beat the Sixers, the Hornets, the Bulls twice, the Wemby maybe Wemby was playing in that. I don't know if that was post All-Star break, but they beat the Spurs, beat the Hawks, beat the Clippers, right? So Clippers a good win. And then they beat the Celtics, and they beat the brakes off of them on, that would have been Wednesday night, 117-97. So not only was Detroit due for a loss, but they're also riding high, pumping their chest after you take down the reigning defending Boston Celtics in blowout fashion, 117-97. And tonight, Denver got them at the right time, and they took advantage of that for sure. And they ran Detroit into the ground here this evening for sure. I mean, taking a look at some of the stats here, I gave you the shooting already, but across the board, they won the rebound battle to Denver, 50-42, excuse me. Let's see here. Fast break points. Actually, Detroit beat them by 1 there, 22-21. And Detroit actually beat them in points in the paint, 58-54, which is uncommon, for the Denver Nuggets. Usually Denver cleans up in fast break points and points in the paint. So a bit of interesting outcome for Denver to win in the fashion in which they did, despite trailing in those two categories. But, Denver led by as many as 25 points in this game. Detroit led by as many as 5 at one point as well. But, like I said, I mean, you felt good about this game, as soon as the third quarter kind of started and you saw the way that Denver was able to just go out there and blitz them, scoring nearly 40 points in the period. I mean, Denver put up almost 40 points in the third and the first quarter, 39 points respectively in those quarters. So, you got to feel good about it. You got to feel good about the overall trajectory of this team and how things are working for them right now with this 134-119 victory over the Detroit Pistons. So absolutely love to see it. And I don't want to talk about Boston just yet. We'll get to that in a couple of minutes. But again, just some more big picture thoughts here on this Nuggets team. I mean, Detroit's a good team, right? Much better than they have been in years past. They're going to make the playoffs as Detroit, probably as a mid-seed there in the Eastern Conference at 33-27. But, even with Aaron Gordon not being out there, the big three, for lack of a better phrase, of Porter, Jokic, Murray. This was like, I was complaining about it last night. Like, have you ever seen a game where all three of those guys this year are firing on all cylinders? I can't think of one off the top of my head. I'm sure there has been a couple. But it reminds you of just how dominant and hard to beat this Denver Nuggets team is when 3 points, when they're all firing on all cylinders, all three of those guys. They're effectively shooting the 3-point shot, but also getting back and buying in on defense. That is Michael Malone's number one concern with this Denver Nuggets team is their defense and their ability to kind of rise to the occasion. And I believe that Denver come playoff time will be able to flip that switch defensively, but you saw it, all encompassing here tonight. And I think Michael Porter Jr., just him finding his rhythm, him finding his stroke, that's going to go a long, long, long way in molding this team the rest of the way throughout the course of this regular season as we get ready for the playoffs. A guy that we haven't talked about much tonight, Christian Braun. What a performance tonight for CB, a plus 30 in the box plus. I mean, look at these numbers. I mean, CB plus 30, Murray plus 23, Jokic plus 33, MPJ plus 35, Zeke Naji plus 27. And CB tonight, he gets a little overshadowed because of the games that Porter, Jokic, and Murray had. But 23 points tonight for the fella. Nice game from him. 2 of 3 from three-point land. Grabbed 6 rebounds, dished out a couple of assists, had a block. He's the guy that can bring the physicality and likes to play physical and is okay with being defended physically as well, is Christian Braun. So a nice game for him for sure. And how about Zeke Naji, man? 21 minutes in the starting lineup. DeAndre Jordan, absorbed 10 minutes of run as well. He's not going to jump off the stat sheet as Zeke Naji with only 8 points. But again, 2 of 2 from 3, couple of rebounds, couple of assists, 3 blocks. I mean, Zeke Naji's trending in the right direction. And as I've said about Zeke Naji before on this show, if you can get anything positive out of Zeke Naji, you're going to take it right now if you're a Nugget fan or a coach or whatever it might be, because he's been just absorbing a roster spot because of his contract for the last year or two. And so nice to see Zeke, kind of round into form here a little bit. So, you love to see it. Strawler tonight also played 27 minutes. Not the best night from him. 0 of 3 from 3. You want to? I sound like a broken record. You want to see him up the ante there. Only 6 points, 1s across the board, 1 steal, 1 assist, 1 rebound. So a couple of turnovers there as well for Julian Strawler. But at the end of the day, man, Julian Strawler don't matter when Jokic, Murray, Porter are all doing their thing. I mean, that's just kind of the reality situation. And just for fun, why don't we pull up Jokic's game log? Because it's just insane. It's just insane. Tonight, 23, 15, 17. Last night, 32, 14, 10. Indiana, 18 points, 19 rebounds, 18 points, 19 assists, 9 rebounds. Against the Lakers, 12 points, 13 rebounds, 10 assists. That was an awful game for Denver. They lost by 23 points, but he still has a triple-double. I mean, it's just absolutely unbelievable. I mean, this guy is literally averaging a triple-double. 29.2 points per game, 12.6 rebounds per game, 10.4 assists per game. And he's shooting 57.8% from the field. He's just a marvel. The guy is just a marvel. I mean, what else is there to say? I mean, it is such a privilege to be able to watch Nikola Jokic on a game in and game out basis. And tonight, he turned in yet another signature performance as Denver is looking good here down the stretch post All-Star break. They've lost 2 games since the All-Star game. They're now 3-2, but more importantly, 2-1 on this road trip. I think it was after Indiana. I was talking about you want to see Denver try to go 3-4 on this road trip, or 3-1 rather, over the course of the 4 games. And they're well on their way. Now, their biggest test is still in front of them. And boy, oh boy, am I excited for Sunday's game. 11 a.m. Mountain Time tip-off in Boston against the reigning defending Celtics. Gut check game. And Boston, let's see, they played Detroit. They're playing the Cavs right now. And as of this recording, they're losing. That game's about to be over, 121-116. So Boston's going to probably come into this game losers of 2 straight. So much like the Nuggets tonight against Detroit, Boston's coming into that game with a bad taste in their mouth, with some fury. Right? They're going to probably try to shoot the lights out from 3 because that's how you beat Denver. So I think this is going to be a really, really, really interesting gut check type of game for the Denver Nuggets coming up on Sunday here against the Boston Celtics. Both teams will be on equal rest. I don't think we have a line for that game, but I have to imagine Boston will be the favorite, probably considerable in this matchup as well, just considering how good they've been, throughout the course of the season. I know they're not as good as they were last year, but they're going to be 42-18, and they're going to be 18-11 at home. Or excuse me, they're on the road tonight, I believe. Let's see here. Oh no, they're at home. So yeah, they'll be 18-11, assuming if this score holds up. Cleveland leading right now, 123-116, as we get ready to wind it on down on this postcast. So we shall see what Sunday holds for the Denver Nuggets against the Boston Celtics. But for tonight, it is a victory show. It's a good feeling. Enjoy your Friday night, folks. You deserve it, right? As the Denver Nuggets get the job done here this evening against the Detroit Pistons, 117-97. Or wait, no, that's the Celtics score. Sorry, I've got all my scores messed up here. 134-119, your final score for the Denver Nuggets as they get the job done here tonight over the Detroit Pistons. But all right, that is going to do it for me on tonight's episode of your Locked On Nuggets postcast. Really appreciate y'all rocking with me as always. Do me a favor, if you're watching on YouTube on your way out, hit that like button, smash that subscribe button as well. That way you guys never, ever miss an episode of your Locked On Nuggets postcast. Good win for the fellas, good bounce back for the team and Michael Porter Jr. We'll see if they can keep the momentum going and let the good times roll when they take on the Boston Celtics Sunday morning/afternoon. Enjoy your Friday night, folks. We'll talk to you guys Sunday afternoon. Good game tonight for the fellas. Have a good Friday.